Well, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. on January 21st, 2025, and I'm calling this Lacey City Council meeting to order. For the record, Councilmember Dunning is attending remotely, but all other councils present here in the chamber. If you're able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I also want to acknowledge that we, the city of Lacey, are on the ancestral land of the tribal people of the Treaty of Mezzen Creek, including the Nisqually Indian tribe and the Squaxin Indian tribe. And we do have one amendment to tonight's agenda. We have an amendment, we forgot to put the youth council presentation on our agenda tonight. So I would move that we add the youth council presentations under public recognitions and presentations under A. We'll do that first, and then we'll do the Lacey Loves Reads second.
Second.
It's been moved in second to amend the agenda to add the presentations. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? Then that motion unanimously carried. We have adopted the amended agenda. And first up on that amended agenda is our presentations for the Youth Council. Please come forward.
Okay, hold on. Good evening, Council. My name is Kieran Sills Powell, and I'm the Summit Virtual Academy representative, and I'm a junior this year. We've had quite a variety of things going on. The most recent one being our district-wide Billy Frank Jr. project, and that is essentially just all schools within the North Thurston Public School District doing different art projects, whether that is a visual or something like a poem. These art projects are showcasing the world around us and finding ways to encourage our community on how we can maintain the good environment that we already live in. We have also had, or are having, an upcoming science night that is for our elementary school students. I've heard that there are going to be some ice and water activities. I'm not quite sure what that entails, but I'm sure that will be fun. And finally, we have our end of term coming up next week. And to celebrate that, we're going to Legends Arcade, and it's completely free for all Summit students. So that'll be really cool. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Luca Frelich, and I'm representing the homeschool community. Since my last report, homeschoolers have come out of winter break, so I've been very busy with homework. Homeschoolers have also been involved in extracurriculars. For example, I know some homeschoolers who are involved in a community orchestra. Personally, I'm looking forward to the start of spring sports. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Lydia Neat, and I'm the representative for Northwest Christian High School. We've had a lot of good stuff going on. Our basketball team has been placing very well, and because Pope John Paul was gone from our Knowledge Bowl meet, we were able to win that. Our speech and debate team has grown pretty well, and they've been working with the cross-country team to build funds for regionals, and our theater program just wrapped up their spring play, and they're working on starting up our other play, Frozen. So yeah, we've been going pretty good.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. I'm Isabel Valerio, and I'm representing River Ridge High School. We just got our new commons and cafeteria, along with our student store, making it easier to sit with our friends and enjoy more variety of food. Our clubs are participating in Valentine's for Vets in order to honor those that have served. And our sports are doing well. Cheer is going to stay undefeated, and our girls basketball is third in our district league, 12-4 overall. And our boys basketball is also doing well. Our music program is preparing for a tour in Europe for 2026. More info to come on that. We had our MLK assembly interrupted by a fire alarm, but is now rescheduled to tomorrow, where they will have videos to honor him, dances, choir performances, and more. Not only that, we have our end of the semester coming up, which means finals.
Thanks.
Good evening, Council. My name is Avni Kumar, and I'm from Timberline High School. Last week, we had our MLK assembly, and on the same day, there was a delay in the morning because a bus broke down for 30 minutes, and the fire alarm was pulled twice that same day. Our AAPI is celebrating Lunar New Year, and we're also having a Valentine's Day dance coming up.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. I am Joel Whipple. I am representing North Thurston High School. So far, our school hasn't really done much outside of sports. Our boys wrestling team got first in a tournament for the first time, beating River Ridge by half a point. And they have gotten second place up until then at 3 tournaments in a row. Our girls basketball team continues their undefeated streak, and our boys basketball team continues playing today.
Thank you. Go Rams.
Good evening, Council. I'll be providing the Youth Council update. In our group, we've been busy planning our participation in the upcoming Lacey Cultural Celebration, where we aim to showcase the vibrancy of our community's youth. Additionally, today we were the first to review the results from the citywide comprehensive plan survey, which I was one of 5 to actually win a gift card from. And lastly, we're preparing for an upcoming joint session with the Commission on Equity to explore efforts in promoting inclusivity in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. I always love hearing from our youth council. So next up, under our public recognitions and presentations, our Lacey Loves to Read bookmark winners recognition. Jeanette and crew.
Good evening. I'm Jeanette Sealer with Lacey Parks Culture and Recreation, and joining me tonight is the head of our Lacey Loves to Read committee, Jamie Roberts from North Thurston School District, and Raina Sedor from the Lacey Timberland Library. And I also want to welcome our grand prize winners who are here tonight and their families. Celebrating now 22 years, Lacey Loves to Read continues to be a popular and successful community literacy partnership between the City of Lacey, the Lacey Timberland Library, and the Lacey South Sound Chamber, and of course the North Thurston Public Schools. The mission of Lacey Loves to Read is to bring the community together around the works of one award-winning author. Each year, we look for someone who has written a variety of works which will spark interest and encourage reading for all ages. And we couldn't do this program without the support of the many community sponsors and businesses, which include the Friends of the Lacey Library, WSECU, North Thurston Education Association, and more. Plus, this year we have a new program, Olympia Reads, is joining us as we celebrate our author this year.
This year's program will feature award-winning author Varian Johnson. Varian is the author of several novels for children and young adults, including The Parker Inheritance, which won both Coretta Scott King Author Award and Boston Globe Horn Book Honor Awards, The Great Green Heist, an ALA notable children's book and Kirkus Review's Best Book, and the graphic novel Twins, illustrated by Shannon Wright and NRP Best Book. He was also chosen for many Battle of the Books for North Thurston in the past, so it's exciting that he's coming for all the kids who are already familiar with his work. This year's program is Lacey Loves to Read, and the Lacey Timberland Library is also proud to sponsor our teen writing and cover art contest for middle and high school students, with the goal of giving more teens a chance to participate by sharing their writing and art skills. The committee is currently going through the judging process, but we have a record number of entries this year, including 40 short stories, 9 poems, and 9 cover artworks. The winners will have their work preserved in an ebook, like the one from last year, and will be recognized at a special recognition with the author during his visit. In a great partnership with the Lacey South Sound Chamber and local businesses, kids in grades K through 5 can join Read Around Lacey, which is an interactive reading adventure by visiting 6 of the participating businesses and reading a sample of something they've written or read from their favorite book. Then the business representative will share why reading is important. Participants will be entered in a drawing for some cool prizes, and that's going on now through January 31st. Kids can pick up a form at their school or print one out from the school district's Lacey Loves to Read website or pick one up at the library.
We are excited to welcome Varian Johnson on February 12th through 14th, as he comes to Lacey to meet with students. We have 2 different assemblies with the author and also a community event for all Laceyeites to come and meet with him. It will be held at North Thurston High School at the Koval Center at 6 p.m. And all the community on February 13th is welcome to come to that. He will be doing books. We have book sales there from browsers, and he will sign books and greet people after his presentation. Part of Lacey Loves to Read tradition is to get kids excited about the program and combine art and literacy. And part of that, a big part of that, is a bookmark contest, which is one of the reasons we're here today, is to honor those people. This year we had over 3,600 entries for the bookmark contest. It really does reach far and wide across our community, which includes elementary, all our elementaries and our private schools in the area. Those bookmark contests and the printing of them are sponsored by Graphic Communications. KGY Radio helps with that, Browser Books, and the North Thurston Ed Foundation. We have 24 winners representing every school in the district, as well as private schools and homeschoolers. Tonight we are here to introduce our grand prize bookmark winners, the top in each age group from North Thurston Public Schools and the community. Once again, the competition was tough, as the artwork is really, it's amazing. The contest, and in fact, the entire program is managed by the Lacey Loves to Read Steering Committee. Is there anyone else here? Can you give me a wave? Yes, besides us up here. And there's more. We work on this all year. Okay, and anyone here from Ole Reads? We had a unique opportunity to start partnering with the Olympia School District, which started last year, kind of the same type of program, and they call it Ole Reads. Anybody here from there? Okay, we're excited to partner with a wider group of the community. So we will announce each of the winners and share their artwork and invite them to come up to get a certificate from the mayor and then shake hands with each of the city council members. Once we have all the kids up here, we'd like them to have to pose for a photo with the council. So if parents want to take pictures at that time, you can do that also. Each grand prize winner also received a copy of one of Varian's books and copies of their bookmark to give out to family and friends and relatives. And they are getting a poster that will be displayed at Lacey, the Lacey Timberland Library. Okay, are we ready? So I'm not sure. I think we had one who might not be here. Is our K1?
I don't think she's here.
Okay, well, this great bookmark was done by Aviana Flores. She's a first grader at Woodland Elementary, and such a cute entry.
Make sure she gets that.
Yes. Okay, next one. So our second and third grade grand prize winner is Jaden Coe. He's a third grader at Lakes Elementary. Come on up, Jaden. Come on up. And Jaden, maybe you can wait at the end over there until we get everybody up here. Okay. Fourth and fifth grade grand prize winner is Olivia Lopez. She is a fourth grader at Evergreen Forest Elementary. Is Olivia? There she is. Come on up, Olivia. Okay. Our sixth through eighth grade grand prize winner is Maribel Cruz, seventh grader at Aspire Middle School. Oh, right there in front of me. Hi, Maribel. I'd like to point out the lovely t-shirt that she has on. Those will be for sale also that night, if you want to support. Okay. Our 9th through 12th grade grand prize winner is Rose McLean, 9th grader at North Thurston High School. Is Rose, come on up, Rose. Did I? Very good. Our community grand prize winner is Violet Alanis, homeschooler. Alanis, very good, thank you. also wearing the lovely Lacey Reed t-shirt. And the superintendent's choice this year goes to Lillian Farr, 11th grader at River Ridge High School. Maybe before we get everybody up there, if all of you could turn to show your bookmarks, hold them up so that they can see all your lovely work.
How do you want to do this picture?
I just want everybody to be able to see them. Like, show the audience your pictures. They're fabulous. You guys did great work. Okay. Okay, you might want to look up over have your bookmark down a little bit so we can see your face. There we go. There we go. I know. All right.
All right. Once again, we want to thank all the kids for their hard work and their artwork. And we want to invite everybody to come out to our event on February 13th at the Koval Center.
Well, thank you so much. As we go into our next agenda item, it's our proclamation of Lacey Loves to Read Month. We'll start with Councilmember Dunning.
City of Lacey official proclamation. Whereas literacy remains a top school and community priority and is integral to the success in school, business, and daily living, and
whereas providing opportunities for community members of all ages to discuss the cultural and literary merits of reading will help create a culture of 20 minutes a day family practice and civic pride in Lacey. And
whereas a community-wide reading program such as Lacey Loves to Read Months will support both students and community members in understanding the power of writing and literacy in their lives. And
whereas the partnership between North Thurston Public Schools, the City of Lacey, the Lacey-Timberland Regional Library has made this program possible, and
whereas reading informs, empowers, and teaches us the lessons of history, and reading literature that explores diversity, global and social issues can help increase tolerance and unity within a community, and
whereas Lacey community members can read and discuss a variety of works by award-winning author Varian Johnson, who will visit our community February 13th and 14th, 2025.
Now, therefore, I, Andy Ryder, Mayor of the City of Lacey, on behalf of the Lacey City Council, do hereby proclaim February 2025 as Lacey Loves to Read Month in the City of Lacey. I encourage community members of all ages to acknowledge and celebrate the importance of reading and to discuss the works by author Varian Johnson. Signed by myself, Mayor Andy Ryder, on this date, January 21st, 2025. And Jeanette, had the same people come up and accept the proclamation? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Did you see your picture of the comp plan?
Thank you.
Good work. Good work. Try to squeeze in one more picture here too.
Oh, picture.
Picture time. Picture time.
She's going to go all the way. Going all the way down the line. Jeanette's got to make it all the way down. Let her get to Shannon.
See, I wasn't kidding, was I?
Jeanette.
Right in between each other.
That's right. Yeah, everyone will kind of squeeze in.
Yeah, we're all going to squeeze in, suck it up. We're done.
Great. Just love Lacey Loves to Read Month. I get to know the new author every year, and going out and talking to kids and reading to kids is just, it's such a great part of what we do in our community. So next up on our agenda is public comment. We didn't have anyone who signed up for public comment ahead of time, but if there's anyone wishing to address this council, please approach this podium. Seeing none, then we'll go on to our next agenda item, which is our public hearing on our multifamily tax exemption.
Well, good evening, council. It's nice to be back again. So tonight I am here as part of the public hearing process and to present the next steps in the potential expansion of the multifamily tax exemption, or otherwise known as the MFTE program. This builds on the discussion that we had during the City Council work session on October 8th, 2024, to offer the MFTE program in additional areas of the city. I think I brought the wrong glasses. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So on January 7th of this year, the council adopted resolution number 1161, which set the public hearing for this agenda item for tonight, January 21st, 2025. At this time, staff seeks furthering the objective of expanding the MFTE program to a new residential target area, specifically the neighborhood commercial district. Currently, the program exists in the Woodland District, but the decision to expand the program would further the city's goals to offer the MFTE program in additional areas of Lacey and prioritize increasing affordable housing units while also providing more opportunity for our housing providers to help us achieve those housing goals. So a brief overview of the three MFTE program options are as follows. The 8-year option applies to market rate projects that do not include affordable units, such as what we have seen to date in the Woodland District. The 12-year option allows for a combination of both market rate and affordable units when the number of affordable units meets or exceeds 20% of the total project units, and when the affordable units meet the income thresholds for low and moderate income households as defined in the LMC Chapter 3.64. A third option under consideration but not yet adopted is the 20-year MFTE program. This program allows a mix of market rate and affordable housing units with the requirement that at least 25% of the units meet affordability standards as defined by the Washington State Department of Commerce. Specifically, this means these units must be affordable to households earning at or below 80% of the area median income. For Lacey, the 20-year MFTE program would apply only to the sale of affordable units as required by RCW 8414. Lacey does not qualify to offer affordable rental units under this program due to two factors. First, the city does not meet the population threshold. And second, the city lacks the high-capacity transit necessary to qualify for rental unit provisions. It's also important to note that the 25% affordable units must be developed by or sold to a qualified nonprofit or government entity. This ensures permanent affordable homeownership, with each unit remaining affordable for at least 99 years, even with successive sales. The remaining 75% of units can be sold or rented at market rate and are still eligible for the tax exemption. So on July 16th, Council adopted the Neighborhood Commercial District Code, which allows for ground floor residential uses with affordability requirements. Offering both the 12-year and the 20-year options in the neighborhood commercial areas will provide additional incentive to housing developers to utilize the MFTE program and further reach our affordable housing objectives for home ownership opportunities. So at the October 8th council meeting, council gave direction to staff to pursue 3 updates to the MFTE program, which include, first, designating the neighborhood commercial district as a new residential target area and include the 12-year and a 20-year program as options. Second, expand the Woodland District's MFTE program to also include the 20-year option. And then third, introduce a 12-year extension option for current participants in both the 8-year and the 12-year MFTE programs. And this extension would apply to both the Woodland District and the neighborhood commercial districts. So now that there has been an opportunity for public comment, staff proposes 3 possible directions, including option 1. Staff could proceed with the council's initial direction given on October 8th. Option 2, council may recommend a modified direction in light of any comments received, which I missed that part. So, and then option 3, council could consider an alternative direction that was not identified here.
Thank you. Actually, now I'm going to open up this public hearing to take any testimony from the public on the expansion of the multifamily tax exemption program into the neighborhood commercial zones and the Woodland District as well. Is there anyone wishing to address the council at this public hearing? Oh, go ahead, Councilmember Greenstein.
Just a question for clarification. On the 12-year extension, on the 12-year, so on the 20-year, you can't use it for rentals. It's only for units being sold. The 12-year extension on the 12-year, can that be done for rental?
That's correct.
Oh. So you can go to 24 years on a rental, actually.
That's also correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Again, okay, Councilmember.
Along that same line, so the 12-year extension can only be provided if there are affordable units included? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, I thought I had that.
One more time, anyone wanting to address the council on this public hearing? Seeing none, then I'm going to close this public hearing. Okay, now that we have the next steps.
I apologize about
no problem.
about the order. First time for everything.
Yep.
So let's see where we're at here.
So yeah, you're going to develop the language and it'll be back to us at a future council meeting.
Absolutely. So upon final direction from council this evening, staff is prepared to develop final ordinance language that would effectively update the city's current MFTE program to align with the council's direction. Staff would then bring back final ordinance to a future council meeting. And if there are any other questions, but we may have covered those already. But happy to answer any.
I think the council, do we need a vote to go forward? I think we're all in agreement. The one thing I do think is important, though, is once we pass this, is to be able to make sure this information is accessible to the private sector and the builders within those districts, to let them know about this, because this is even new to this council. Has been looking at this for a while. We knew about the 8 and 12. We didn't. The extension is something that's been somewhat new to us. So I hope that we have this information readily available, easily explainable about the benefits of doing this for the private sector.
I just add, by way of clarification, council has in their materials 3 options, and I think clarifying for staff which of the 3 options council's generally in favor of, and then an ordinance will be brought forward to council at a future date, so there's no action tonight. Council's going to have a full opportunity for more consideration at a later date.
I think I'm in
We're all good with option one?
Well, yeah.
To proceed with the initial direction, I think, is
Proceed with initial
where we're all
direction,
headed, right? Option one?
Yeah. Except, wait a minute, will that give us the 12-year extension? Give us a 12-year extension? Okay, it gives us all of it. Okay, yeah, I think that's where we've been at. Vanessa, do you have any questions?
No, I was just going to address the comment about awareness for the development community.
Yes.
We have some interested developers, and we will make sure they are aware once this is adopted via just technical communication. However, we also will communicate this through our pre-application process when people come in to develop projects to make sure they're aware of these opportunities for development within the community.
Perfect. I do have one question.
And can you go back one more slide just to show this?
Certainly.
Oops. Well, yes, there it is.
This one here?
Next one. Next one back. There.
There it is.
That's the direction. Those three options are the direction from the October 8th work session.
So all three of those things.
Correct.
So I did have a question. Will this also apply to like existing apartment complexes or housing developments for like resale or redevelopment purposes?
Vanessa, do you want to comment on that?
Yes.
I believe the MFTE allows for that. We can ensure that that's reflected in the ordinance if that's the direction of council.
Yeah, this is not just for new construction. If you wanted to re-up, or if you wanted to turn this over, your existing units could do it. You just have to meet the requirements of it.
Well, we don't have any residential units in the neighborhood commercial, but we do have some in the Woodland District.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would obviously apply for the new units. Okay.
One,
Go ahead.
I was just going to comment that one thing on the 12-year extension is that at the time of notice, which I believe is 2 years prior to filing for the extension, the project does have to have affordable units. So for example, if a current 8-year market rate project wanted to move towards a 12-year extension, they would have to do some modifications and meet that 20% affordability.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you.
Can we comment?
Go ahead, comment.
So I'm really hoping that this produces the units that we need in the city with, I think what was it, a 24-month period where there was no development, and we got behind on units. And there's no way really to catch up on 2 years of missed work. I don't know how you do that but with this, who knows, maybe people will be interested in taking advantage of this to produce the units that we need because we're so far behind. And I just don't know how else we can catch up.
And I'm hopeful that that it is successful and that it's sort of a pilot for us to test out incentivizing low-income housing because we need more of it and not just in the neighborhood commercial and Woodland districts, right? So we haven't had the opportunity to do enough public outreach to expand this multifamily tax exemption to other parts of Lacey, but I hope to see us do so in the future. I hope that this is successful and it's just the beginning because we need more low-income housing.
Yeah, and that's a very, we've limited it to these districts at this point, but it'd be really be interesting to get some feedback from the bigger units out there and currently I'm not aware of very many that offer the lower income option. Of if this was introduced in their area, would they convert some of those units over to do that? And so maybe in as a part of this, we can start doing a little bit more outreach to see if expanding this into the other areas. And I think we have to be a little bit strategic about that as well. But I think it's worth having that conversation. If a developer who we've seen so many units actually come online over the past 5 years, 6 years, and some still are in the pipeline. to be able to show them the math of what this would actually do. And I think that's important to sort of show them the math of what it would do, because it has to make sense, you know, for them as well. But I think this is one of the ways it could pencil out, especially some of these units that they need to be rehabbed, they need to have a facelift, that, you know, is expensive. This could be one of those ways that they can help do that, and make it happen, produce some of those units and give them some relief and, you know, make it pencil. So I think we're headed in the right direction. But what would be horrible is if we pass this and nothing happens, right? I mean, yeah. So I think this is just a tool. I'm not sure if it's I don't think it's maybe the magic tool, but I think anything can help. And I think making sure we're in touch with the private sector on this and showing them the math on how it can help them may make a dent. So, okay, but thank you. Anything else? Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So next up is ordinances. Ordinance 1672, the Dram Road Cuyo Park North Island annexation. Ryan. Oh, no, 10, sorry. I'm sorry. We're under number 10, the resolutions, the 1162 Tomley Park Estates Sewer ULID. Peter. Yeah. Sorry, Peter.
That's right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Before you tonight is Resolution 1162, and I'll just read the motion. Adopt Resolution number 1162, fixing a hearing date of March 18, 2025 to consider the final assessment roll for Utility Local Improvement District number 25, which is Tomley Park Estates. So you recall the history of this. Tomley Park Estates was on a large on-site septic system. It was failing, had been for a number of times, but it's just getting worse. And the operator of that system petitioned, please help us. We'll do a ULID, connect us. And so we moved forward, and the project has been constructed. We are collecting the final costs now so we can produce the final assessment roll. And so we anticipate having that done first week or so in February. Then we have to publish per RCW a couple times and send out the final assessment roll to the property owners. And then it'll be appropriate to have the hearing. So that's why we have a date out in May 18 for the final assessment hearing. So the recommendation is that you adopt Resolution 1162. Anybody have any questions about it?
I would move to adopt Resolution 1162, fixing a hearing date for March 18th, 2025 to consider the final assessment roll for the Utility Local Improvement District number 25, Tomley Estates.
Second.
Park Estates.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
We've discussed this one.
I have one question. So the residents, I think their main concern is in the common area where they had where the vehicles are parking while they're doing the work and all that. They're deathly afraid that area is going to be developed. And you don't see anything in the future of that common area being developed?
Okay, so I'm not an expert on land use. I'm assuming that the plat is that it's their HOA common area.
Yeah.
Therefore, I don't see.
I think Rick's pretty, is a little more familiar with. Yeah, they use the HOA-owned common area for some staging activity. Exactly. That area would not be able, will have to have the HOA permission or the property owners of the neighborhood's permission in order to do that. Also, I'm assuming that that's also designated as an open space tract, so they'd have to do some process through a plat amendment if it is designated as an open space tract as part of the plat. So they have to do a formal process if they were to consider that. But it'd be several steps, and the members of the neighborhood would be involved in that process directly. Other than that, they seem pretty happy for having gone through construction. There's always growing pains with construction, whether it's road construction or whatever. But I'm happy to see that people are recognizing the tools that the city has to offer and want to become part of the city because of those tools instead of just taking on the heavy lift themselves. Yeah. It's a smart move. It's
it benefits everybody, including the city.
So I'll remind this council what I said when we were approached and we decided to go through this. You have to remember, this is adjacent to the city of Lacey property. This is in our urban growth area. And in every other circumstance, if this was the private sector trying to extend utilities, we have made them come into the city first. Because we have this section in our annexation agreement that we can waive it under certain circumstances. They haven't come into the city, although we do have their power of attorney so no protest. And so I do recommend that the city start that annexation process as soon as possible. But here's what happened. We happy to help these people out. They had a failing system. It's going to cost a lot of money. We gave $2 million from our ratepayers.
And it benefits everybody.
It does benefit
in this whole
everyone.
region, right?
But in the meantime, this whole system was built, and the city of Lacey didn't get a single penny in return of sales tax. And, it doesn't sit well with me. It didn't sit well with me at the time. It doesn't sit well with me now. But I do think, we should start annexation, the process as soon as possible. And I just don't like this part. Now, I understand that it takes some time to do all those things. That they were an emergency. We had to get it done as soon as possible. But we could have started that process around the same time and got to a very similar time, And I don't think they're not going to be protesting when they're coming to the city of Lacey needing us, and we give them $2 million too, in the same time. So
But
I'm
if you have
just saying,
POA, then it's a formality at that point.
yeah, and I do would like to think that staff will start the annexation process. Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Then it's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 1162, fixing a hearing date of March 18th, 2025, to consider the final assessment roll for the Utility Local Improvement District Number 25, Tony Park Estates. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Then that motion passes, and we have set the date for March 18th, 2025.
So if I can pop in here just for a second. So council just set a public hearing date to consider and confirm the final assessment roll. That hearing is a quasi-judicial hearing in which this body is going to sit in a decision-making role. So it's just going to be very important that council not have communication with members of the public or members with anybody about the costs, and just let that information come to you at that hearing and then make a decision on that role based on the information that you gather at the hearing, which will be March 18th.
Perfect. Good reminder for everyone. Now that we're not used to doing these quasi-judicials
No ex
hearings
parte
very often,
communication.
but that's a good reminder. Thank you.
And also, if I can just add, as Brian's coming up, we'll bring back to council a timeline and the process for starting the annexation process, because yes, this area is adjacent to the city boundary, but there's other neighborhoods that would be in essence an island, and so we'd have to have some communication and outreach. So it's not a matter of just starting right in. So we'll bring back the timeline and the process and what that looks like back to council, so the council's aware of that step.
Great, thank you. So next up is now ordinances, the 1672, the Dram Road, Kuya Park North Island annexation.
Good evening, Council. So speaking of annexation, you have the final step for an annexation in front of you here tonight. This is actually your third review, which is an ordinance in front of you to consider approving the Dram Road and Cuyo Park North Islands annexation. So as a reminder, staff has been processing these annexations, which is actually three annexations of separate islands under one ordinance, utilizing the interlocal agreement method of annexation under RCW 35A 14. Since the approval of the interlocal agreement by both the Lacey City Council and the Thurston County Board of Commissioners back on October 1st, this application was sent to the Boundary Review Board for Thurston County. The Boundary Review Board review period has now ended, and since the Boundary Review Board declined to invoke jurisdiction, the application now returns to the council for final consideration in ordinance form. So as I mentioned, there are 3 separate islands associated with the interlocal agreement and associated with the ordinance. The first is an island that was created with the approval of the Dram Road annexation. This area contains approximately 253 acres and runs north of 15th Avenue Northeast and Dram Road Northeast from the eastern boundary of the previous Dram Road annexation past Carpenter Road. This area contains the Woodland Creek Estate subdivision and a number of larger lots that are not connected to city utilities. The other 2 islands were created with the Cuyo Park North annexation and total approximately 19 acres. The properties are larger residential lots, also not connected to city utilities. The total estimated population associated with all of these islands is approximately 400 residents. So city staff recommends approval of the ordinance here tonight. Upon final ordinance passage, notification of the annexation will be sent to affected agencies and the annexation certification process will begin. The ordinance in front of you has an proposed effective date of March 1st, 2025. So effectively that will give us some lead time to be able to communicate to city staff and external agencies about the change in municipal boundary, including the fire districts. I think as you may remember, there's a modification of some fire district boundaries that will result as part of this. After March 1st, 2025, the city will conduct a door-to-door census of the area. An accurate census ensures that population-based revenues are distributed to the city. The city, as part of this, will be contracting with a private consultant to complete the census, which actually can't begin until after the effective date of the ordinance. So again, you have an ordinance in front of you tonight for a final consideration of the annexation of these 3 different areas, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
I would move adoption of ordinance 1672 to approve the Dram Road and Cuyo Park North Island annexation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? There's pointed out in the staff report, it says March 1st, 2024. That's obviously supposed to be March 1st, 2025. But any other discussion?
We've talked about this one for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Just needs to get done.
Yep. Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of adopting ordinance 1672, signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The motion unanimously carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, under 2 things under the mayor's report. The first thing is the Human Services Commissioner's appointments. As you know, we went through the whole process of setting up our Human Services Commission to have commissioners to go through our human services work plan, everything else. We now we went back to the people who participated in that and said, would any of you like to stay on as a commissioner? And 5 people said yes. And so it's my recommendation that, and those 5 people are in the packet. And so if it's okay with this council, what my recommendation would be is to appoint the 5 people as listed in our packet: Angelina, Nancy, Dahlia, Brandon, and Tiffany. And if the council's okay with that, we would then open it up. We'd need 2 more people to apply, and we'd go through the normal process of taking applications for that and going through that. But it would be my motion that we appoint the commissioners as listed in our packet to the Human Services panel.
I would second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Everyone got that? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 Is anyone opposed? Then that motion unanimously carries, and then we will go out and seek 2 more. And my second subject is that following this meeting, we're actually going to go into a closed meeting to talk about an update on a contract. And so that's something that we haven't, it's something that's allowed within our law. And I guess I'll just have Dave since we haven't actually done this before, we've always gone to an executive session, but this is something else. So I'll let Dave just sort of explain it.
Yeah, so what council will be doing, will be going into a closed session. RCW 423140 authorizes closed sessions for certain topics, including consideration of collective bargaining matters. And so this is a meeting that is not part of the council meeting. It's not an executive session subject to the OPMA. It's completely exempt from the OPMA. And so I think that.
Yep, that's it. And so there's no decision will be made. Just this information will be given to the council in a closed session. And with that, we'll go on to our next item, which is the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I have two items under the City Manager's report. The first one is an update to an interlocal agreement on accessory dwelling units, and I want to invite Sarah Bart and Hans Shepard to come up. Sarah, our Assistant Planner in the Community Economic Development Department, as well as Hans, our Senior Planner, who will provide an overview of the pre-approved Plan ADU program and the need for the additional interlocal agreement.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Bartz, and I'm a planner here at the city. I'm here tonight to provide a little history on the city's ADU program and some current statistics. The program was started as one of the strategies to increase the number of affordable housing options available in the city of Lacey. The ADU option allows more diversity and flexibility in housing design through small-scale residential infill. In 2019, Community and Economic Development contracted with the Artisans Group to prepare 4 total pre-approved design options. The options ranged from a 480 square foot studio to an 800 square foot 2-bedroom layout. Final design renderings were completed in 2021, and they became available to the public. Once a property owner has decided to pursue one of the pre-approved options, the process has been streamlined with various cost-saving measures, including shortened review times, reduced permit fees, and utility connection charges. In 2024, 2 additional pre-approved options were added to the city's portfolio. A local retired architect, John Martin, and this is an official shout out to John, created 2 smaller options, a 318 square foot and 449 square foot, which are great for smaller lots and will be very beneficial when new legislation requires us to allow 2 ADUs per lot. This brings the city's pre-approved portfolio to 6 total options that range from 318 square feet to 800 square feet, 1- and 2-story option. Since the start of the program, Community and Economic Development has processed 31 total ADU permits. 6 of the 31 opted to use the pre-approved design. Many of the other permits were detached garage conversions, which is also a very popular option. ADUs remain one of the most frequent inquiries at the front counter. The informational brochure that we created in 2023 is available at any time in the front lobby. And new legislation increasing the size and quantity of ADUs permitted will likely increase interest and open up more options for property owners. Hans? Okay, pass it off to Hans.
Yeah, we're going to do a little trade here. Yeah, so I just have this slide and I think the next one. But as Sarah referenced, we first entered into an ADU ILA with Olympia and Tumwater in 2020. Since then, we've had a couple different state-level code changes that have essentially put those pre-approved designs out of date, whether it's House Bill 1337, which had to do specifically with ADUs, or some of the International Residential Code or Washington State Energy Code, all of which need to kind of be implemented within the ADU program context. So what we're talking about today is actually entering into an updated ILA with, this time, Olympia, Tumwater, and Yelm, who's also expressed interest in participating in this program. Previously, they were not, but this time around, they're interested in it. To enter into an ILA that actually runs through 2027. The intent there being that it gives us time to update the current ADUs to current standards, but then also it better aligns with code cycles. So if there's another update, we'll still be in that ILA, so we don't have to go through this process again. Yep. There we go. So yeah, staff recommendation and kind of what's before you guys tonight is to authorize city manager to enter into an interlocal agreement with the cities of Olympia, Tumwater, and Yelm for the update of our pre-approved accessory dwelling unit program.
So moved.
So it's been moved and seconded, direct our city manager to enter into an ILA with the cities of Olympia, Tumwater, and Yelm to coordinate plan development and cost sharing. Any discussion, Councilmember?
Just one question, and you may not be able to answer it at this point, but how much, do we have any idea how much we would expect this to increase the cost of these ADUs, these changes?
Decrease. Yeah. To decrease or increase?
No, increase. There's no chance it's going to decrease the cost, these changes.
So the intent behind this program is that it would lower costs for individuals. There would be an upfront cost that the city would pay. But in
So this will
doing,
lower the cost from what it is today for someone to build one of the ADUs with our approved plans?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's the
Or
whole
it
point.
would continue that program.
That's the whole point.
Well, I just want to clarify your question. Are you talking about the cost to design and the plan itself and permit, or are you
No.
talking about the actual construction cost because of code updates?
Talking about code, I'm talking about the actual cost of building due to the code updates. That's why I'm surprised that it would lower the cost. I've never seen code updates drive the cost of building down. Every time we see code updates, it drives the cost of construction up.
That's a difficult element to ask because we have to go through the process of redesigning those plans to meet those current codes. Then we'd have a better assessment once. those
Okay,
plans are
and that's
done.
why I said
So
I didn't know if it could be answered at this point, but I would expect it to drive up, not down the cost.
What we're trying to do is make sure that the design and the permitting levels are low, and so.
Oh, no, I understand that. That was the whole point of the AD program that we've done that we did several years ago, so. Great, thank you.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, this is one of those programs I think we should be really proud of. I think Lacey was the first to come up with like pre-approved designs, and like we've been sharing them with the other jurisdictions, and now everybody's kind of getting on board and we're working together on it. You mentioned the two smaller options. Are those available now, or are we getting ready to make them available when the updates happen?
Vanessa? Do you have?
The two smaller options are available
They're out now?
currently. Yes.
Okay.
Yep, they're available
Wade was
currently.
telling me about them before he retired, and I was very excited about them because I have kind of a smaller lot, and I'm kind of interested in those designs.
Yeah, and just to add, those were donated by John Martin to us.
That's so cool.
So that's
Well,
excellent.
thank you to him. The other question I had, and I think I know the answer to this, and then I see Councilmember Dunning has a question too. In our codes, there used to be some rules around the size of the ADU not exceeding a certain proportion of either the lot size or the main building on the lot. Has that restriction been updated or changed with some of the new legislation?
It will be. Currently, it's 50% of the main structure up to 850 square feet. I get asked quite a bit, can I go bigger than that? So as soon as this new legislation comes through and we go up to 1,000, I think there will be people that pull the trigger and finally,
When is
Go
that?
for it.
Like, when does it implement?
I think,
6 months after, so
Yeah.
June of 2026.
Okay.
Yeah, we've,
yeah. So,
yeah, we've
Yeah.
we've coordinated, as you saw on the slide, there was House Bill 1337. That's the House bill that addresses accessory dwelling units. We have blended that with our middle housing efforts, which is House Bill 1110. So Jennifer Adams, who's here in the room, has been working hard on those efforts. We actually have grant dollars from the Department of Commerce to advance those amendments. So we will have draft codes completed soon, but the ordinance won't come before the council until after the comprehensive plan update is done.
yeah, another thing that I think will help is that currently the accessory dwelling unit is accessory to a single-family use. And I also frequently get asked about, we have a duplex, can we put one in the back there? And currently you cannot. So when that new legislation goes through and opens up those options and keeps it from being just single-family lots, allows you to go bigger square footage, I think that'll be great too.
So I guess the next obvious question is why are we waiting for the legislation to happen if these are good ideas now?
We are currently working on it. Jennifer's been working on public outreach and engagement. We just closed a survey on that to get feedback from the community, and we're working on drafting the regulations right now.
Okay, that's great. Councilmember Dunning?
Yes, my question has to do with outreach. I just feel like this is one of those programs that should be utilized even so much more than it currently is. So are there other opportunities that we could utilize to get this information out to, every potential property owner who could benefit from this program?
What's been our outreach on this?
I guess I am still too new to answer some questions.
As I recall, I could be wrong, but if I recall correctly, Rick, and you would know, Rick, didn't we, when we first passed this, didn't we actually notify all of the property owners in the city that had lots big enough?
We did. We looked at what lots would be more apt to have that opportunity, the larger lots, older lots, if you will. A lot of it along the golf club and College Street corridor, the Brentwood areas. And we did do a direct notice, and we got a great response. Had a big open house public meeting. The room here in the council chambers was packed, and then, of course, COVID hit right after that. We can look at looking at some budget dollars and maybe look at that effort again. One of the things, though, with this new legislation, we might be able to, once we get the updated rules in place, we might be able to catch a broader net because now you have more options out there, so we might try to build that slowly and then do a big push once we have the full things. But we'll work with Vanessa's team and then also with communications how best to do that.
Councilmember?
I have a comment rather than a question. I just wanted to point out this is a great example of local governments working together, saving each other money and staff time, and doing something great for our respective communities. It's something we envisioned when we stood up the Regional Housing Council, is how we could collectively do things instead of acting within our little silos and duplicating costs and effort. So I am a big fan of this program, and I'm very happy to see this 2 new smaller footprints come along and have more opportunities. So.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I remember the open house that we had on this. It was standing room only. It was fantastic. I did have a question about the smaller footprints, and is that going to open up more? Are there more people who can do it now, or like more lots that can apply for this now because of the smaller footprint? Is that going to help expand that? And then one of the other things that I remember was the cost of these units. That was the only thing I didn't really like, was the $125,000 it was going to cost to build one of these in my backyard. I mean, I could go out and buy myself a Winnebago or something and just level it out back in the backyard. So I'm hopeful that these efforts will indeed reduce costs. And if cost remains the issue, maybe we can revisit some cost saving efforts in this vein.
Well, I think I'm gonna just kind of respond to that in a bigger, much more general and kind of holistic nature. And I think we saw this several months ago when Holmes first came and talked about the cost to build the ADU. In that case, there was no connection fees, there's no permit fees, no actual product design fees. I just think that it also demonstrates the complexity of the housing cost issue because there's more to it than just government regulations and government timing and permitting. It's the material cost, the labor cost, and what the finishes are, what people want to see as finishes as well. And so there's a whole bunch of dynamics that we can't control, but we can look at controlling what the city can control as part of a solution, and then let's look at the other pieces of that puzzle to also look at solutions too.
And you and I had that conversation the other day, so I'm glad you brought that forward. Another thing that people have asked me about this program is, can the other unit have its own meter?
In terms of a water meter, that is an option, but that's the line that City of Lacey's drawn. The City of Lacey has always looked at ADUs as an accessory to the house. And so if they connect to the side sewer and the existing meter, there is no charge for connection fees. But as soon as you drop that extra meter, that triggers the connection charge because that's a new connection to the system.
Okay.
And so they could do that, but then they'd be subject to those additional charges.
So I just want to point out that how much Lacey has led on this issue that's actually affected now the state, looking at what Lacey's done and specifically looking at ADUs and changing state law because of what Lacey's done. And this has actually been going on. It's taken a long time for us to get here. This actually originated from a meeting that I was having with Scott Spence long time ago. We're talking about affordable housing, and we're saying, what were you doing in our, that makes, that we can do? And it's like, well, we have this good ADU program. It's actually one of the most progressive ADU programs. And I go, well, then why aren't people using it? And it's like, well, so we then had a meeting with the Olympia Master Builders and talked to them. And so through a bunch of different work with everything, we basically said, okay, what if we could design, pre-approved design, and cut as many costs as we possibly can? And it started down this road to get to this first spot that then other jurisdictions have looked at and go, wow, that's really great. We want to do that as well. But it's always got down to what you've been at. That the second part that we talked about way back when we talked with Olympia Master Builders when this was just becoming an idea is, was there a possibility that we could work with a financial institution and a builder to have a builder start quoting what it would cost to build this as a pre-unit and have a couple builders bid on it? And so you're trying to get to an actual cost because you see the cost up front. Now, it doesn't include the land work, and that can be expensive depending on the backyards of whoever. That's the one unknown we can't get to is what will it take to actually get the land ready for the ADU to sit on top of it. But what we can do is work with a financial institution, work with builders to actually come up with an upfront cost, saying this is what it would cost, instead of it doing these each individual landowner having to go out and find someone to build it and finance it. That's the missing point here.
We did have, at that big meeting, we did have a lender here. We did have some builders here.
And so I think that is sort of.
That was part of the original program. We probably need to resurrect that
yeah.
because some of the builders went away. But working through Olympia Master Builders, there was a list that prospective users of the plans could contact to get quotes and pricing. Then also worked with the local institutions, and they actually looked at their mortgage process and tried to set programs specifically for ADU investment, looking at the equity in the house. So there were some matches in there, and I know there's so interest in the local, local banks and continue those programs. And that's something too we can resurrect. The general list, I don't know how current that is because again, that's reconnecting with master builders and updating that. But those are things that we set up in that initial presentation. And I do believe we still have the recording of that, the video recording of that presentation as well that goes through all that information that we can refresh as well.
But that financing piece is key because if we can get a couple people actually bidding on what it would actually take, here's the pre-approved plan, how much will it cost you to build this generically? Right? Then you have an idea of what that number is, and it can drive that number down because now it's open to everyone to say, okay, this is what it costs to build this ADU, despite the land work.
I just want to clarify that getting bids and contacting the developers will be up to the property owner.
I understand
that. The city would not be involved with that. I just want to get that clear.
I understand that, but we could help facilitate that.
We can provide the list of contacts.
Yeah.
And we're helping people not reinvent the wheel that someone just went through. So, we streamline it, and saving time is just as much important as saving money.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Any other discussion? Then it's moved and seconded to direct the city manager to enter into this interlocal agreement with the cities of Olympia, Tumwater, and Yelm. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Then that motion unanimously carries.
I actually did have one last question. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Okay, so with Yelm and Tumwater and Olympia jumping on board, are they going to be bringing some plans to the table as well? Like, did they pre-approved plans, maybe something we haven't seen?
As part of the initial 2020 ILA, there were 2 plans that Lacey had developed, and there were 2 plans that were brought by Olympia and Tom Water as part of that initial ILA. This time around, Yelm is paying kind of a entrance fee, if you will, to be a participant in the existing plans. So there's no new ADUs as part of the ILA. That said, we as Lacey do have 2 additional ones that Sarah was talking about that are now offered through our program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, council, and thank you, Hans. Thank you, Sarah. Great job.
Thank you.
All right. Next on my report is another great project coming forward. I want to invite up Chris Stolberg, our transportation engineer, who will give a overview of the College Street Northeast Extension bid award.
Like 35 years in the making?
Well, that's one of the things. When I first came to City of Lacey in '99, that was on the books.
I remember seeing a future extension when I was going to junior high right there, so, yeah.
Some of that right-of-way was dedicated in the 60s, so.
Wow.
So good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight to present about awarding the contract for the College Street Extension Project. So staff is recommending to award contract PW 2020-41 to Active Construction Incorporated in the amount of $9,485,484.99. This is about 5% lower than the engineer's estimate of $10,001,606.75. We received 10 bids on the project. It is, we have 250 working days in the contract, and construction is expected to start in March. So just to give an overview of this project, there are 4 main components. The primary purpose for this project is to extend College Street from 8th Avenue Northeast to 15th Avenue Northeast. And as part of that, we're realigning the intersection with 6th Avenue. There's also a road maintenance component in the project where we're reconstructing 6th Avenue and doing a grind and overlay on College Street between Martin Way and 6th Avenue. And then in that section of College Street that we're overlaying, we're doing a road diet as well. So we're taking it from a 4-lane section to a 3-lane section with bike lanes, which will be more appropriate for the level of traffic there.
Do you know how many linear feet it is? I mean, it's pretty much a straight shot.
Yeah.
1,200, right? So anything like that, or? I mean,
Wish I had written it down.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Just curious.
So it looks like the Arterial Street Fund and the grant dollars are combined. To what degree?
I believe that that TIB's portion is about 2.5 million, and then the other 2 million would be coming from the Arterial Street Fund.
Nice.
And there's also a good amount of utility work on this project. So we're replacing the existing asbestos cement water main throughout the project limits and extending the water main through the new section of College Street, and installing gravity sewer in 6th Avenue for a future connection, and decommissioning lift station 27. So here's just an aerial of, kind of what it's going to look like. This is just the new section of College Street. So it's rotated, so north is to the right, and then so like Chinook Middle School is in the top left corner there.
So in this project, and we can wait, we can do a motion, but this section of College Street from 6th, I believe, all the way to Martin is going to reduce from 2 lanes on each side to 1 lane on each side?
Yes.
gosh, there was something else that I wanted. So those duplexes on the far right that go right up against 15th.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to keep that foliage there, those trees there, in at the end of this project?
So are you talking about where they front 15th or?
No, where the new road punches through and just starts to touch 15th. I went and walked it last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. I had an opportunity and I was like, oh, I'm going to pull over and walk this. And I noticed that, if we could save, those, I don't know, it looks like from here, though, those trees are going to be saved that would front this road, this new road.
I
Or am I
believe
mistaken?
I believe those trees are going to be removed. We are planting street trees along in the planter strip between the sidewalk and the new road.
And I noticed some of the residents use that area for like auxiliary parking. If you
Yeah, so there's kind of a gravel strip that's behind where the new sidewalk goes. So we're planning on leaving that, and it would be kind of, they could parallel park there or, but they're not going to be able to pull into it head on like they do right now.
Gotcha.
Is that can be a controlled intersection when you take a left to go up to? I'm just curious on the bond there. Is that on that T? Is that is there gonna be College and 6th? Yeah, College and 6th.
Yeah, so 6th Avenue will have a stop sign, but College Street will not.
Okay. Oh, really? So you'll be able to just go and take a left, or you can keep going straight through for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to talk about the schedule and the impacts a little bit, so that section of College Street between 6th Avenue and 8th Avenue, we will have to have some closures because there's quite a bit of grading and utility relocation that needs to take place in there. So it may be closed for up to 60 working days. And then construction is expected to conclude in the summer of 2026. And we have been coordinating with North Thurston Public Schools because, obviously this is going to be a big impact for them. They've got their district office, a middle school, and 2 high schools all right in there. So we met with them in October, and we're going to be including them in the pre-construction meeting and working with them throughout the project. And the major paving along the school's frontage on 6th Avenue is scheduled to take place during summer break.
Have you also coordinated with Intercity Transit? Part of the reason I ask is they're going to be doing a whole big system overhaul starting in September of this year, and it's going to include some of that area, I think.
Yeah, we have talked with Intercity Transit about the project, and I believe we're inviting them to the pre-construction meeting as well. And so this is a breakdown of the project between the different schedules. So the new street extension is about $4.5 million. The water improvements are about $2.6 million. The sanitary sewer improvements are about $1.1 million, and the roadway maintenance part of the project is about $1.2 million. So, do you have any questions?
I guess, yeah, the only other question I have is, I know with this new road, we're going through we're creating sidewalks and everything through, and we're right up into people's backyards. And I know there's been some questions about, will there be a fence there to sort of shield them during, have some privacy there, even though they knew that this was a possibility coming in the future. But all of a sudden, oh geez, now there's a road right in front of my house, and I didn't know there.
Yeah, so we're going to be replacing all of there's existing fences along that frontage, and we're replacing those as part of the project. And there's also going to be for part of that fence, when you're first going down the hill, we're replacing that with a retaining wall that's going to extend to fence height.
Oh, good.
Kind of like Carpenter Road
Yeah.
and Mullen combined. Kind of a combo
Well, good.
there.
I know that's going to be much appreciated because I know some people are like, wow, I mean, they had nothing in their backyard, but now all of a sudden there's a road going by and they were concerned about that.
I would move to award Lacey contract number 2020-41 to low bidder active construction out of Puyallup, Washington, in the amount of $9,485,484.99.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to award this contract to the low bidder. Any other discussion?
The adjacent neighborhood that has the traffic diverter control devices there, will those stay or will those not stay?
They are a temporary installation. I think after the project's completed, we're going to give them an opportunity to vote on whether or not they want to keep them.
Well, now all the traffic that has gone through their neighborhood for the past, 30, 40 years, wherever it's been, will now be diverted and go down this College Street extension. So
Which is what they've been asking for.
Yeah, which is what they've been asking for a long time. And I have to admit, I've gone through that neighborhood. I don't know how countless times over the years, because there's no other easy way. Unless you have to go all the way up to Slater. I mean, there's no other easy way to do it.
Nope.
And so,
course.
yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's really, it's amazing how long this has been on the books, and it's finally got here. I remember it's something that I talked about, almost 16 years ago when I first got on council. It's like, when are we going to finish this College Street extension? Because it's something that people have been talking about forever. And I remember way back when, even talking to people in that neighborhood and them bringing it up. So it's great to see progress in Lacey, even though it took a little while. Any other discussion? And it's been moved and second to award this Lacey contract number 2020-41 to the low bidder. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 Is there anyone opposed? Then that motion unanimously carries.
Great. Thank you, council. Thank you, Chris. Great job.
Thank you.
And that concludes the city manager report tonight.
The next up is boards, commissions, and committee reports. I'm up first, but I do not have a report. Deputy Mayor.
I also do not have a committee report. JASCOM was canceled this month, so we'll double down next month, and then EDC is tomorrow. So, but I did go to an event on Friday night and saw our assistant city manager there, along with the city manager and several others. And we, the city, were awarded this City of Lacey recognition from the Thurston County version of the NAACP, the branch here. And one of the things that they wanted us to know is, like, hey, they really appreciate the Martin Luther King Proclamation, the different things that we've done to say that, racism and hate and all those different things don't belong in this community. What we've done to step up to say, you know what, we're protecting, rights of all people, regardless of, what they've chosen to do with their lives, as long as they're not doing illegal things. But they are saying that, Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater have doubled down on DEI efforts, not allowing, hate and hate speech and these different types of things into our communities. And they wanted to make sure that we knew that they are watching and that they really do appreciate what we've done to make this place safer and more inclusive. So they awarded us with this on Friday night, and I gave a quick little speech.
Very nice.
And if the council wish, we can hang it right up on the wall over there.
Absolutely.
As well, so.
Councilmember Greenstein.
Just one real quick report tonight. 911 Communications met on January 8th And really, the main topic of conversation was about staffing issues, just having a lot of trouble filling spots for call takers and 911 operators. And it's not a problem unique to us. It's a problem all over the state and, in fact, all over the country. So we are trying some new things. There's going to be 5 hiring academies this year. So making a full-blown effort to try to fill the 8 full-time employee positions that are open. And that was a big part of our conversation. Other than that, we had the annual audit, and there were no findings, which was great. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Stedman.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one report. Thurston County Law and Justice Council met last week. Other than chair and co-chair nominees, we only had basically one thing on the agenda. I nominated the Derek Sheriff for Sheriff, Thurston County Sheriff Derek Sanders for the chair, and then of course, I mean, John Thunheim and Patrick O'Connor are awesome. So whoever fills those roles will be great. But we had an update on the public attorney's office, their dashboard. Essentially, what they're trying to do, I have a lot of notes here, but in simpleton terms, they're trying to create a data culture. And so they started a trial run with stakeholders, I guess you'd say, people in the community, some people on the council too. And essentially, it collects data, and to give an example, you could, and it goes by whole years, but you can break it down to months if you wanted to and stuff like that. But let's say there's 150 total cases in a month. You could find out what the percentage was of defendants that were ages 18 to 35, or how many were male, so on and so forth. I mean, you can break it down to a lot of different demographics, but that's essentially what it is. There's a 1-year lag time. So they started data collecting in November 2021. And so that's available, 2 years ago, or, so, but they won't have it for this last year because there's the 1-year lag time. So essentially, people could go in and just find out, more transparency, a little more information for everybody. But again, it's a trial run. They're going through it right now. There's a lot of little things that come up, like if defendant used a different name in one case as compared to another name, it's you'll have trouble finding that data. But this is the trial run. They're working out all the kinks. But the good thing is, more information, the better. Transparency is always better to gain trust with the public. So it's happening, and soon this trial run will be over, and then people can have the information themselves, and I think it'd be a great thing. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Cox.
Okay, just one report tonight on intercity transit, which met on January 15th. We welcomed 2 new Transit Authority members, Councilmember Kelly Von Holtz from the city of Tumwater, and former Lacey Park Board member Wendy Goodwin. And Wendy got off to a great start in the meeting. She was asking wonderful questions and was an enthusiastic participant, so Lacey is well represented there. The biggest news is that we heard a presentation about Transit is working to restructure the existing fixed bus route system. This is going to be making some routes more efficient. It's creating new opportunities, and one that I think a lot of Lacey residents are going to be excited about is the addition of pretty much direct service to JBLM. It's going to be originating from the Lacey Transit Center. It will go north and take in a part of Britton Parkway before coming down south again. I think it's going to be on Marvin Road to get to the freeway and then on. But that should serve the growing residential community there along there. But there's also an Olympia route that's going to go to JBLM as well. It might be a little faster, but it won't provide the stops that Lacey will provide to serve our community. So that's exciting, but when you start looking at the whole system map, numbers are going to be changing, some service elements are going to be changing, and it'll be ultimately, I think, a big improvement of what we have. I want to remind everybody that just January 5th of this year, we did a few service additions and tweaks that added about a 5% increase to the former volume of service. The one that's probably of the most interest is the defunct Dash service that had gone around downtown and served the Capitol has been revised in the form of Route 14, which offers weekday service between the Olympia Farmers Market and the State Capitol campus and the Olympia Transit Center. So that, I think, will be helpful to people trying to get around downtown, and especially our visiting legislators during session here. Otherwise, just small, taking care of business things in the meeting. Back to you, Mayor.
Councilmember Vasquez.
Thank you. The Thurston Regional Planning Council met earlier this month, and we approved the operating budget for TRPC. They're putting money in the bank, so about $122,000 added to their fund balance, which is always nice for a small organization to have a cushion because the unexpected always comes up. They approved their salaries and benefits as well. They're doing pretty well against the market, so they just approved a 3% increase for their staff of 16 people, so that's all right. Next month, we'll be doing the vote on the leadership for Thurston Regional Planning Council. I currently serve as chair, and I'm hoping to retain my seat as chair, but we'll be doing elections. And Councilmember Cox is nominated for vice chair, so that'd be kind of neat. So we'll see. We'll be doing the elections next month in February. We also, and this is my favorite thing that TRPC does, we got the updated version of the profile. So everybody here knows about the profile, but for those of you tuning in from home, the profile is a great source of data about everything related to Thurston County, economics, housing, land use, population, languages spoken at home, taxable income and sales, types of jobs. It's a really amazing way to learn a lot about our community, and you can look at the information by city. So fun trivia, the average age of someone living in Lacey is 36 years old. We have now cracked the 60,000 person threshold, so we're upwards of 60,000 people in the city of Lacey. 36% of Lacey residents identify as an ethnicity or race other than white, so we have 36% people of color in Lacey. We have 16,949 households, so about 2.4 people per household. And 38% of our households are cost burdened. So hearkening back to our conversation earlier about affordable housing, we continue to have a strong need for more affordable housing because 38% of the people who live here pay more than a third of their income toward housing. So if you want to learn more, check out the profile. We do a quiz, and I took 4th place. So I think I lost standing compared to last year. I think I got 2nd place last year. Our new commissioner, Rachel Dreon, actually got 1st place, and she's brand new, so that was wild.
Wow.
And that's my report.
That's great.
Well, can I add that Rachel credited having done all this research for her campaign about Thurston County so she could answer questions, and she was primed.
Wow. Councilmember Dunning.
Yes, update on the VCB. As you guys know, Annette Pitts has moved on, and we have been in the process of accepting applications for her role for about a month. The executive committee did not make a decision on any of those candidates, so they are currently in negotiations with an outside firm to review those candidates as well as search out some more. So that negotiation should be done this week, and then they will start reviewing the candidates who have already applied and looking for new candidates as well. So I will get more info on that as soon as it comes through. And then the only other small thing is that the World Cup planning is starting to happen. So there's some meetings that will be coming up that the VCB will be a part of. So we can kind of all expect to get some more information on what that looks like for Thurston County. And that is it.
Great. Yeah, it's the announcement went out that Thurston County has been selected as an official fan zone for the World Cup, and so the mayor, several of the mayors were approached by FIFA actually last year, and we had to keep it under wraps. We couldn't actually say anything until the announcement that happened last Tuesday. And so we've known this has been coming for a little bit, but the first meeting was last Tuesday. Commissioner Menser went up to receive some more information about what it actually means to be a fan zone. And so I'm hoping to, connect with him and get a little bit more information and to see what that will actually mean. But essentially, there are, I think, 9 fan zones that are going to be across the state. We've been selected as one of them, and it's going to work out where with the World Cup, there are practice games and practices, and there's some of that's happening down in Portland, and obviously will happen up in Seattle. And we're obviously positioned very well on the I-5 corridor to put on some of those, some viewing parties and some other things. And so we're going to try to get some more information on what that will look like. But we are counting on the VCB to sort of step up and help us with that as well. Okay, thanks for that, Nick. We've now reached the end of our agenda. Anything for the good of the order?
What month is the World Cup?
It's
A summer thing?
in summer of,
Perfect for us.
I know,
2026.
it's next summer,
Okay.
I think, yeah. I should know, but I don't have off the top of my head.
There'll be a couple things. This 2025, I believe, is the lower level World Club Cup, excuse me, and that's where like the local Seattle Sounders is a participant because they won the CONCACAF, and so that's going to be a prelude this year leading up to the World Cup activities in 2026. And it's good to hear that the VCB is looking at organizing and being a central role to that, because there's going to be a lot of logistics and planning that's going to be necessary amongst all the jurisdictions. So having the VCB hopefully in a position to coordinate that will be key. Everything from event, space, public safety, we got to make sure all of our law enforcement agencies are aware of what's going on as well. So those are things that there's a lot of work to be done from the region, and so it's not going to be any one group leading it by itself.
Yeah, and we'll have to figure out where the viewing parties are going to be and all that stuff, yeah.
It's mid-June through mid-July of next year.
That
Nice.
sounds right.
Perfect time for us.
Okay,
Back in the 90s, I did an honor guard, a color guard in
For
the
the-
Bay Area when Argentina, I don't even remember who they played. I think it was
Wow.
like Chile or something. But yeah, carried the colors out there. It was pretty cool.
okay. Well, with that, we have reached the end of our agenda. So without objection, I'll call this meeting adjourned. And as always, you keep it classy, Lacey.